What is going on, guys? It's your boy Big Dylan and welcome back to another Destiny What to Use in Weekly Heroic Strike video. So let's get straight into the modifiers. This week we have Heroic, Voidburn, Brawler and Ironclad. So the two good ones this week are going to be Brawler and Voidburn. So taking that into consideration, let's go over some weapons that I would recommend using this week. As far as primaries go, again, anything is usable. You can use a scout rifle, a pulse, a hand cannon or an auto rifle, it doesn't really matter, but again I always heavily favour hand cannons or scout rifles just because of how hard they hit, and you know, scout rifles for PvE in general are just really fucking good. So that's pretty much primaries out the way. As far as specials go, there's a few exotics you could use. I mean, the Telesto you could get away with using this week. I've got a Stolen Will here that will absolutely shred through the enemies. I've also got this God Roll PvE sniper rifle with triple tap and casket mag. This will also absolutely dominate at the boss fights. So again, just as long as you're using something with the Voidburn on, you're going to be getting the most advantage out of it. For actual heavy weapons, you've got the Dart Drinker, a Truth, or you can just use your own Void Legendary Heavy. Dart Drinker, again, it could be good, but it's very risky, you know, especially if there's like a Minotaur or something running at you, blasting his Void, cannon at you. You're going to probably die pretty quick. Truth is a pretty safe option, you know, the blast radius will be very, very good at taking out huge crowds of mobs. So I'll probably end up running Truth this week. This will probably be what I run for weapons. As far as the Warlocks go this week, you've got a couple of builds to play around with. You could run the Obsidian Mine build, which I always run for PvE. Basically, with Nova Bombing enemies, it'll give you more cooldown towards your next Nova Bomb. This is my skill tree, if I set it up properly. There we go. So that's pretty much exactly what I would use on my Nova Bomb Obsidian Mine build. If you don't want to run the Obsidian Mine, you could actually swap it out for the Nothing Manacle Gauntlets and probably just run the Scatter Grenades with the Energy Drain build like that. So you can constantly just throw Scatter Grenades, infinite amount. So that's two builds for the Warlock. Let's move on to the Hunter. So for the Hunters, guys, we're going to be pretty much limited to Tether now, or Night Stalker, whichever one you want to call it. This is the build I like to run for PvE. Predator, extremely underrated perk in my opinion. Extra shadow shot cooldown, and it'll wait on the surface for enemies to spawn. So you can actually just shoot it at a doorway in advance if you know enemies are going to be spawning there, so they get tethered as soon as they actually come out the door. Very useful perk. Vanishing Smoke, just in case you need to get a revive. Very useful. Make sure you got Light of the Pack on there as well, so you're making odds for your teammates. This is what I use for my Night Stalker. The reason I use Bones of AO is because there's not really any good exotics for the Night Stalker, in my opinion. I mean, you could run the double smoke gauntlets, but I just don't really see the point in two smokes. You know, hopefully my teammates aren't going to be dying that often, to say the least. But I prefer the extra movement from Bones as well. You know, combine Bones with the better control, you fly around the map, absolutely amazing movement. That is pretty much it for the Hunter. Let's get on to the Titan. So last but not least, guys, the Titan. Now, Titans, you can sort of play around a bit this week, in my opinion. Defender is obviously going to be your go-to class, with it being the Void. But with Defender being quite a a limited subclass in the terms that you can't really do anything with a super other than place a bubble down. I mean, I'd run Defender if you're running a team. I feel like Defender's really good, or if you just believe in your teammates enough that they're going to actually be using the bubble enough on the boss fights to where obviously you place your bubble and then melt the boss or something like that. I'd probably be tempted to actually go with something like Sunbreaker even this week. You still got your melting point on there if you want that. Just change my subclass around here, but this is usually what I would use in the actual. Ooh, actually, you could actually use Sun Charge this week on your Sunbreaker to make it even better. I think Brawler's on this week as well, isn't it? So, I mean, don't feel limited to your Defender subclass. You know, it's a very limited class. Like I said, Brawler is on this week, so Sun Charge on your Sunbreaker would be absolutely devastating anyway. But just play around with it. Again, like I say, guys, don't feel afraid to use a different subclass on a Titan, as Defender is very limited. hopefully this actually does help some people, you know, with what to use this week. Drop a like on the video if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel for future content. Another thing I want to apologise for is obviously not uploading for the past couple of days. I just got like severe burnout of Destiny. I couldn't really bring myself to play the game. I'm actually going to be making a video on that tomorrow for you guys, so be on the lookout for that. Basically explaining why I pretty much will not be playing Crucible anymore. But yeah, hopefully I'll see you in the next video, and peace.